Feel free to chat with us through. I'll try to keep an eye on the chat as we're going through these. Our approach today was to give you an overview of several tools following a research lifecycle, the way we tend to talk about it. These are just a few tools with distinct benefits. This is not every tool possible. Certainly we couldn't cover that, but just a few that we think might be beneficial. We're going to start with tools for data collection, and then to move into tools for data cleaning, analysis, and then a tool for writing at the end. So my name is Lynda Kellam. I'm the CISER Senior Data Librarian, well, the CCSS Senior Data Librarian. And my background is actually in political science. I have a qualitative research background in political science, and I'm currently a PhD doctoral candidate in history. So I kind of span both fields of social sciences and humanities. And Florio, if you want to introduce yourself.
I'm Florio Arguillas. I'm a research associate at CISER, and I help researchers with regards to qualitative research data management on campus.
So next slide.
So it will be me. It's about, I'm going to be talking about data collection and transcription with Zoom and Otter.ai. Today I'll talk about two applications for collecting qualitative data and transcribing them. One of the most common ways of collecting qualitative data is through interviews. Given the pandemic, many, if not most, interviews are now done virtually. Assuming your respondent consented to the recording of your interview, the audio or video recording will likely be transcribed, so you can leverage the power of qualitative data analysis software packages. Zoom is one of the applications that certainly is familiar with us. We use Zoom. We are on it now. Zoom has live transcription option. If you're the host, before recording, you enable auto transcription. And an option will appear to view the real-time live streaming of the transcript on the side panel. And you can actually save the transcript. When you record, you have the option to record on your computer or the cloud. If you want auto transcription, choose the cloud, because Zoom automatically transcribes the audio of a meeting that you record to the cloud. Zoom will then send you an email once the transcript is ready for viewing, which has the link to the recordings and transcripts. You can either download the transcript directly or open the video file and edit the transcript. If you download the transcript directly, it has a .btt extension, but it's actually a text file. So it can instantly be used by any qualitative data analysis software package. However, chances are you will likely need to edit the transcript because the transcription software working behind the scenes is not 100% accurate. There are still some editing to be done. This is Zoom's recording a video and transcript interface that you're seeing right now. It allows you to edit the text to more accurately capture the words, or to add capitalization and punctuation, which are not captured by the transcript. You can save your edits and update and download your transcript later. Right now, Zoom's audio transcription is only supports English. The next application that I'm going to talk about is Otter.ai. So what is Otter.ai? Zoom's chief product officer calls it the leader in AI for voice conversations. Otter.ai is the artificial intelligence behind Zoom's live transcriptions, as well as Google Meet. It is also a multi-awarded speech-to-text artificial intelligence. Otter.ai allows you to record and view transcripts in real time, or auto-transcribe an audio or video file. It is very simple to use. First, sign into your account. Create one if you don't have one yet. Then it will open your personal dashboard. This is your personal dashboard. To start recording your meeting or interview, just simply hit record, and you'll instantly see the transcript streaming in real time. If you want an audio or video recording to be transcribed, just hit import and wait for the transcription to complete. The length of time it transcribes is much shorter than the length of the recording. For example, a 3-minute audio recording I uploaded was transcribed in under 2 minutes. Once the audio or video transcription is completed, you can view the transcript and listen to the recording at the same time. The transcript created by Otter has speaker IDs and key phrases, and is searchable. You can edit and export the transcript to a text file, Word file, PDF, or SRT for subtitles. You can train the software to learn your voice or recognize the speaker. It has a feature that will auto-tag speakers based on the sound of their voice. You can create groups to invite collaborators and keep organized. How much does it cost? I provided the link to the pricing on the slide, but there are two plans relevant to us. The Otter basic plan is free and includes 600 minutes of free transcription. That's about 10 hours per month. And you can have up to 3 audio or video files transcribed for free. The maximum length of the recording should be 40 minutes. You can export the transcript in text format. There's another plan called Otter Pro, which costs $100 per year, and it includes 6,000 minutes of transcription. It exports files to text, not just text, but also to docx, PDF, and SRT. The maximum number of hours per recording is 4 hours. Now, Otter currently only supports English, similar to Zoom, because this is the one behind the Zoom, and can handle a wide variety of accents, including American, Canadian, Indian, Chinese, Russian, British, Scottish, Italian, German, Swiss, Irish, Scandinavian, and other European accents. So that's it for Otter and Zoom. I'm gonna send you over to Lynda, who will talk about document management and data collection with Zotero and Tropy.
Awesome. And there was one question. It might probably make sense to tackle the questions as we go through.
Okay, go ahead.
Than waiting to the end. There was one question about confidentiality, and I think, Lee, you might have answered that, but I didn't know if y'all wanted to address that one real quick.
I was actually just typing out a longer answer to that, but the great thing about Otter.ai, and so we actually looked into a lot of it last semester at the Institute regarding ownership of data. And as the researcher, or as the I guess user, you retain ownership of the data, so you can upload it. They will then use the audio files to create the transcript. But then when you delete, if you then delete the audio files after you get the transcript, then they don't retain any copies of either the audio files or video files or the transcripts themselves. So one of the arguments that we've been making is that it actually is in some ways more secure than sending it off to a transcription service, where you don't always know how they handle the data and to whom they then farm it out to. So if you're thinking about different issues of confidentiality, I mean, obviously it'd be great if it wasn't cloud-based, but for the cost and the fact that you can delete it and permanently delete them from their records seems to me to be one of the more secure systems for transcribing files.
Great. So I'm going to talk briefly about document management and data collection with Zotero and Tropy. Zotero is probably very familiar with a lot of you. It's pretty famous, and there are other sources similar to Zotero, Mendeley, RefWorks, EndNote. I'm going to talk about this one in particular because it is a free source. So we can go on to that. And both of these are together too because they were created by the same organization. So they have a lot of overlaps. So Zotero is a free open source software for organizing research materials. One of the reasons why it became really popular is because it was the first to manage a browser plugin, to create a browser plugin that actually worked really well. So you can export directly from, say, the library's databases into Zotero, and then you can pull the, oh, fantastic, that's awesome, I did not know that. So apparently a Cornell grad was part of the team that created it. So tell him thank you if you know him. So I use this a lot of times, but for citation management, but it's not just for creating bibliographies. Because it has the open tagging tool inside of it and it allows you to take notes, you can actually use this as a data, and in some ways for a content analysis or a data collection tool, as well as you can export any of your collections or the entire collection to CSV files that can be used in other tools, like we'll talk about Atlas.ai and NVivo in a few minutes. So it's definitely it's one of those tools that I think people use the surface functionality a lot more than they kind of delve into the deeper aspects of it. There are library workshops available, and I've linked to that in the slides, so definitely take advantage of those if you are unfamiliar with it or just want to get a refresher on using it. If you could go forward, Florio. So this is, of course, the view for the citation management view, and definitely the fields are set up for this, in this particular case, newspaper articles. So this is what you would use if you were scraping from the databases and you were just wanting to create bibliographies. But go forward one more, Florio.
Okay.
And this is the label view. So this is where I think you can actually use some of the more powerful functionality. And if you, or tag view, sorry, if you are tagging your articles as you go through, you can then, when you export your collection to a CSV file, all of the tags will be retained within the file. And then you can do other things with those tags as well. So one more. And this is the example of the CSV file. In this particular case, I think I took off the tags, but what I was looking at was the places. So I was wanting to look at where newspaper articles were coming from about a particular event. It gave me a nice spreadsheet to be able to work from in a different tool that I'll talk about in a little bit more later in the presentation. So we'll go again. The next one is Tropy. So have any of you heard of Tropy or used Tropy? It's more of a document management tool as well. It was created by the same group that created Zotero, but it was created as a software for organizing and describing photographic research material. And one of the reasons why the use cases for Tropy was that researchers, especially historians, were going into archives and taking lots of pictures. And they may take, for one document, 10 different pictures using their phones. A lot of times I've done this too. But the problem is you have a lot of pictures in your folders, but not a great way to manage them, to transcribe them, to create metadata. It's been a messy experience trying to work with that. So Tropy was created as a way to try and manage those images in archival work. One of the nice things about this is you can combine documents, and I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. It also provides space for transcribing, and it also provides space for metadata associated with the documents, and you can export it to JSON or JSON LD or CSV files for use in other tools. So if you go forward one more, this is what Tropy looks like when you're in your documents view. So you don't actually, it's as a software, it links to files that exist on your file folders on your computer. So it's making a pathway to the folder. So it's not storing them separately from your actual folders. Once you have your files set up in your folder system, you just link to this view. And this is, you can see these are all scans from a bunch of different documents, actually 900 documents in the end. But if you go forward one more, I'll show you what it looks like. So this is what the document actually looks like within Tropy. And it allows you, again, to combine multiple pictures of the same document into one view. So it looks like you're actually seeing it as it exists in the archive, or as it exists on paper. In addition, up on the left side, you can see that's the metadata. These are fully customizable, so you can go in and add all the information about where it's the source it's coming from. You can change this. This is the generic view. This can be changed to letter view. This can be changed to, in my case, I created a new one for petitions because that's what I work with. At the bottom, you will see the transcribing area. So this very bottom center part. So you can transcribe, take notes, highlight, and then up at the very top, which one of the very nice features for people who are working with documents are some tools that allow you to focus in on the text. So you can actually especially for handwriting, those of you who have to work with handwritten materials, it allows you to zoom into the text, but it doesn't modify the original image. So it's a really, really nice tool. It's very new. It's about 2 or 3 years old, I think, at this point. They are still developing it. They're still there's some things that they're still working out, I think, in terms of its functionality, and they're adding to it every so often. But it's a really great tool if you are working in any kind of document management situation. Okay, I think that's it for Matt. Yeah, okay. There's no use trophy with photo voice. I have not. That's a great question, Katie. Trophy is pretty new. That's something that I don't know if anybody has done that. That would be a great one to see, but I've not tried to do that. And I know it's mostly works with images. So that's really the focus is for like JPEGs. I'm not sure if I would have to look at the documentation and see if there's file type limitations, but we can do that one in the next section while Florio is presenting. So the next one, yeah, data cleaning with OpenRefine. So OpenRefine, have any of you used OpenRefine before? Let's see if. Sorry, I was just reading the chats. That's a great question too. So Katie's asking a method, or says that photo voice is a method where participants are given cameras and then interviewed about the photos they take. So you can create multiple collections within Tropy. So that might be a possibility that you could kind of create a collection around that, but I'm not sure. For the methodology, I'm not sure how that would work necessarily, but it could be something to play with. Oh, okay, great. So this, one of the, I'm reading these out loud so that you have them in the recording, but one of the tricky things is to pair the text data with the camera data. So this could work. And yeah, that actually could be an interesting way to do it. So our next tool is OpenRefine. OpenRefine is a tool for messy data. So you can go to the next slide. It is built for working with things like spreadsheets, CSV files, Excel files. You can also bring in Google spreadsheets. You can scrape data from the web, but what it's meant to do is help you clean the data for analysis. So an example here that I've shown is from that Zotero file I brought in, and I was looking at the dates, and there were a couple of dates that were brought in with some issues around them. So I could go through and very easily clean the dates without having to know any kind of programming or do it in Excel, which can be really messy. So this is a very, very easy to use, nice tool for getting your data, wrangling your data and getting it into shape. It also can give you an overview of a data set, just a general picture of what's going on in data set. You can transform your data. So if you're wanting to transform things from columns to rows, you can do that easily. You can split data sets. You can add data sets together, combine data sets very easily within a GUI interface, within a point and click interface. So it's quite advanced in what it does in terms of wrangling data. So I'll give you a couple of examples of my use of this in the next slide. So this is an example of that data where I was looking at newspapers. And you can see on the right side here, they have the publication title. These are all the newspapers, and that's the original data. And then when I went up to the top and clicked on a thing underneath this arrow called facet, it creates this facet on the left side. And in that left side, I am able to actually combine entries. So I know that the Chicago Daily Tribune and then the Chicago Daily Tribune with the date information is the same thing. I can easily and quickly, through the interface, combine those and make them into the same entry. So if there is if you are working with a data set where you just want to go in and clean up things and normalize the data a bit, this is a tool that you can use to do that. And I'll show you one more example of this actually. So you can go to the next slide. So this is a very common example. These are those places. I was looking at places that the newspapers come from, and then here you have Boston, Mass, United States. So they were coming in from various databases in different ways, and I was able to easily use OpenRefine to make all of those the same entry so that I could see that how many were actually coming from Boston. And next slide. So I'm going to do a workshop on March 19th at 1 p.m. On OpenRefine. It's a pretty powerful tool, and we'll spend an hour and a half talking about how to use it. I encourage you to come and bring your own data if you want to. It will be a workshop, so I'll try to get you in there and we'll work on data. We'll work on one data set together, and then we'll try to see if we can work on, like, give you time to work on your own data set using OpenRefine. So if you're interested, please feel free to register for that. And that's it for that. And then we'll see if there's any questions. Okay, Amanda is asking about would it be possible to send us a list of the resources being shown today? Yes, definitely. And you also have this link, hopefully, to the slides. We can send that out, and all of the things that we are talking about today are linked inside the slides, so you can go that way too. Okay.
All right, thank you, Lynda. So now I'm going to talk about data analysis with Atlas.ai and NVivo. Atlas.ai and NVivo are the two leading qualitative data software packages. They both have the core functionalities needed to analyze qualitative data, like quotations, coding, auto-coding, text, search, querying, memoing, networking relation, visualization, exploration, report generation, team collaboration. They all have these core functionalities, but they have some differences in terms of the levels that of the tools that they have. The file formats that they support, they can process text, audio, video, images, and survey data. NVivo can process data from Qualtrics, SurveyMonkey, and surveys in Excel format. Atlas.ai can handle surveys in Excel, but you still have to do some manual edits in the column headers so they can be read in properly by the software. It cannot handle Qualtrics and SurveyMonkey data directly. Both Atlas.ai and NVivo can process reference software, which makes them ideal for literature review. They can do basic and advanced search, which involves stemming and synonyms. NVivo can process notes and emails from Evernote, OneNote, and Outlook, but Atlas.ai can only do Evernote. NVivo can process social media data from Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, but Atlas.ai can only do Twitter. The data that's collected by NVivo on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube have actually included a link so that you can see which ones are being collected by these social media platforms. Both software also have tools for calculating intercoder agreement. They both calculate simple percent agreement. Atlas.ai added a HOSTI index or HOSTI index, which is a variation of the percent simple agreement. They differ strongly in their main measure of intercoder agreement. Atlas.ai uses Scrivener's alpha, while NVivo uses kappa. I'm providing below a link to an Atlas.ai blog on why kappa is not a good choice. So if you can see the title of that blog, it explicitly states there that kappa is not a good choice. So you can read on the reasons behind that. I actually listed it also here on the slide. Both software packages offer cloud collaboration. That is the ability to use the software in the cloud. Here, Atlas.ai is ahead. Atlas.ai's license include full access to Atlas.ai Cloud, while you pay extra in NVivo. In Atlas.ai, there is no limit as to the number of collaborators in the cloud, but there's a limit of 5 for NVivo. In Atlas.ai, teams can work in the cloud with core functionalities. In NVivo, they have to work offline, then upload to merge. In Atlas.ai, your data is hosted in a data center in Germany, while NVivo has servers in the USA, Canada, Singapore, and Europe. But both are secure, so I've included the link here to the security, at least for Atlas.ai, and NVivo is HIPAA compliant. Now, Atlas.ai and NVivo are both members of REFI, or the Rotterdam Exchange Format Initiative. REFI was formed to develop the REFI QDA standard for exchanging processed qualitative data between QDA software programs. Thus, projects can be exported or migrated from one program and opened in another, where they are converted into the receiving programs format. What it means is that I can export NVivo and open it in Atlas.ai and vice versa. Projects are actually exported as a single QDPX file, so that the extension QDPX. The software companies that participated in REFI were Atlas.ai, Deduce, F4 Analyze, Max QDA, NVivo, QDA Miner, QuIRI, and Transana. So there were 8 CEOs who actually gathered in this event. When it comes to querying codes, I find Atlas.ai to be more user-friendly. With Atlas.ai, you can actually just drag and drop entities and click on operators to create an expression. But in NVivo, you have to navigate a series of pull downs or drop downs to create the expression. NVivo, though, has this great tool that would help identify themes for you. Atlas.ai does not have this tool. And visualization is where NVivo dominates Atlas.ai, I would say. Atlas.ai does not have a word tree and tree map. It has a word cloud, but limited to 2 formats only. But in NVivo, you have up to 25 formats to choose from with regards to word cloud. And then there are other exploration tools available in NVivo, such as charts, maps, and cluster analysis that are not available to Atlas.ai. But that doesn't mean data from Atlas.ai can't be visualized. Atlas.ai can actually export its data to Excel and SPSS. So the statistical data tool here is actually exporting it to an Excel format. So you can leverage the statistical and graphics capabilities of these software packages. So when you export Atlas.ai your Atlas.ai project to SPSS or Excel, codes are treated as dichotomous variables, 0 and 1, and quotes are treated as cases. A code is assigned a value of 0 if not assigned to the quote, and a value of 1 if assigned to the quote. And I also have to say this, both of them can crash, okay? And you get these messages, but they can recover from a crash. Now, with regards to pricing, the price of the license is where Atlas.ai and NVivo differ by a wide margin. Okay? Full-time students can purchase a 2-year license for $99, while NVivo, it's also $99, but it's only good for 1 year. Okay? Atlas.ai also has a semester license for $51. You can extend it to 2 years for $89 more. Students must have a valid student ID and email to purchase for both software packages. Atlas.ai single user academic license is $750, but it's $849 for NVivo. A multi-user license, which we at CISER purchased, averages $192 for Atlas.ai, while it's $864 for NVivo. So we can actually lease 22 Atlas.ai academic licenses for the price of 5 NVivo academic licenses. But you don't have to purchase these software packages because we have these on our research server. So you have a CISER research account, you have access to these software packages. So we're going to be offering a workshop on Atlas.ai on April 7, and then an NVivo workshop on March 23. You can see the link to our workshop here. So it's missing the H there. But if you can't attend these workshops because of a schedule conflict, we can actually, part of the service of CISER is that we can do custom training for individuals. We can do custom training for project teams. And then we can do custom training for classes. That means you can actually invite us to guest lecture in your class with regards to qualitative research data management. All right, I'm going to turn you over to Lynda now.
And we had a few questions come in actually for that section. One person, Trevor, was asking about some of the file formats we were mentioning. I did mention JSON LD, which is it's JSON linked data format. It's really for people who are doing programming, so it's probably more advanced. if you know about it, you probably use it or could use it. So it might be a more advanced format. But CSV, that format is what pretty much all of these tools can export to or interact with. And CSV files would be the primary exportable format that you would want to focus on. You can open that in Excel, you can open that in OpenRefine, you can open that in Atlas.ai. So you can cross, it's interoperable between different platforms. So it's a great one to focus on. But if you are interested in JSON LD, I'm going to put a link to a description of that. That's actually the most understandable that I could find, or most introductory that I could find. So Sharon, go ahead.
Yeah, there's a question about NVivo, whether transcribing audio files. Yes, they have a transcription service, and you can access that actually from the tool. It's not free. A 10-hour, I think 10 hours is for $20 per hour, so it's about $200 for a 10-hour audio recording. But the great thing about it is that it supports, I think, 28 up to 28 languages. Otter, for example, can only accommodate, well, it's only English, right? UK and US. But in NVivo transcription has Dutch, Danish, Chinese, Hindi, and if I can recall, Italian, so many other languages that they support.
And there was a question about, Sharon was asking about the intercoder reliability in Atlas.ai, whether that's improved.
Yes, it has improved. And they're not, as I said, they're not using Kappa, they're using their own, they're using Pfiffendorf's alpha for the calculation of intercoder agreement. And yes, it's much improved.
And then can Atlas.ai export the data to NVivo to make a word cloud?
Yes, yes, it can, because of QDPX. Remember that exchange format that I've discussed. In fact, just recently, I did the other thing. I exported an NVivo project to Atlas.ai. I haven't done the reverse, but given that I was able to do that from NVivo to Atlas.ai, I'm confident. I haven't tried it, but I'm confident it will happen, that you can do it also in NVivo.
And then the last thing is I put a link to NYU has a really nice guide that compares all of the different Cactus platforms out there. We focus on NVivo and Atlas.ai because those are the ones that we provide through CISER to the community. But if you are interested in looking at Deduce or MaxQDA or other those, I encourage you to look at that link because it does, even though part of it's about NYU, it does talk about the specifications and how they differ across those platforms. It's a pretty comprehensive. Okay, so the last one, and Lynda likes MaxQDA, so yeah, I've definitely heard very good things about that one as well. So the last one I'm going to talk about is Scrivener, and this is something that I've come to depend on quite a bit in my own work. This is not something available through CISER or through the university, but it's pretty minimal cost. Scrivener is a word processing software that allows you to manage large writing projects. And so it's really geared for people who find something like Microsoft Word if you don't tend to write from beginning to end, and you are more of a chunky writer, you write in chunks and you go from here to there. Scrivener can really help you manage that process. It also provides within the platform space for research materials and notes. It's very easy to do that. It has tools for focused writing. So if you are one of those who wants just a clear screen to see and not see anything else, it will do that. There's tools for storyboarding and a lot more. I'll show you a couple of those tools in a second. And all the documents are exportable, so everything can be exported. The library does provide workshops on Scrivener every semester. And I'm happy to do consultations on request because it is something that I use. And it is one of those tools that has a lot of hidden features. You'll get to know it more and more and more as you stick with it. So next slide. So this is the basic, one of the basic views within Scrivener. They have some templates set in here. So this is an essay template that they provide. But you can start with a blank project, but they also have a guided project where you can actually, it'll show you how to use the tool, which is very nice. But you can see that each of these, Florio, if you could point up towards where it says essay. This part where he's pointing, that is the text files. And so you can see each of those files would be a different part of your text. As you go down. And then where it says research, that's your research folder. You can actually pull PDFs in here. And then you can have a notes folder. This one has ideas and miscellaneous. So there's a lot of places that you can put and organize your information in here. Another feature of this that's very nice is you can have a split screen view. I can, if we want to at the end, I can show you what this actually looks like in a test version of this. But you can make it so that your document is on one side and your notes are on another side of the screen very easily within the view. Go to the next slide. This is one of the powerful things about this software is that it allows you to really track what you're doing as well as the storyboarding. But this tracking I find to be very useful because I need a little bit of motivation sometimes to get me on the road to finishing my dissertation. One of the things you can do is set up the targets. So you have a daily target, you have a document target, and it allows you to visualize whether or not you're meeting your targets within a particular day or over a certain amount of time. It's built to be an outliner, so you can outline and move around things very easily within a particular manuscript or a particular document. So that is Scrivener. Multi-author projects across universities. No, it does not. So that is one. There might be a possibility of doing something like that if all of your members would need to have Scrivener, and then you would have to have agreed upon times to access the file on a shared space. But I can't imagine doing that, honestly. That might lead to some problems. It's not really built to be a multi-author platform. So this is a great question. This is one of the things that they're working on right now. Does Scrivener sync with Zotero the way MS Word Docs does? It does not currently. So there have been a lot of people encouraging them to kind of get with the program when it comes to Zotero and other citation management softwares. One of the things I've done actually with this is to use Zotero to create the bibliography and insert it within my document. The only trick with that is I'm always going to be using the same citation style. I'm never going to change my citation style because Chicago is pretty set for what I do. So it doesn't dynamically allow you to do that dynamically, but I use Zotero to set up the citation and then just copy and paste it into Scrivener. It does, I can show you this if you're interested, but it does have footnotes built within the software, and those export very nicely to Word. So you can use it with Zotero right now, but it's just not the way that Zotero works with MS Word Docs, and it's not dynamic. So if you have to change citation styles, that's not going to work in that way. All right, it's about Scrivener or any of the tools.